Okay, so it's 1 o'clock. I'm opening the meeting and I'm going to accept the agenda as submitted unanimously. I'm going to read the announcement. This is Mickey Rowland, Chair of the Historic Structures Advisory Board. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Lucy?
Yes.
Brooke?
Yes.
Angus?
Here.
Thank you. And I don't see any staff members. No anticipated speakers. This open meeting of HSAB is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021. For this meeting, HSAB is convening by video conference via Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Participants may find information on the conduct of this meeting at that location. Please note this meeting is being recorded and each vote will be done by roll call. Thank you. No minutes to approve. So we can move on to the first item. How is it? And no public comment, obviously. Here. Or is there public comment? Probably not. So we'll move on to number 1, 21 Pleasant Street, which is right there. Okay. This is submitted by Tori, I believe. Somewhat lacking in information. It looks like there's, clearly there's an addition. Did she say that? Yes. And a lot of new windows and the front changes to the front porch. So the addition is basically the second floor rear addition, from what I gather. And they have submitted the proposed south, north, east, and west, but what we don't have are existing of the north and the west, just the proposed. So we kind of
existing west is shown and the existing north is shown.
Right. So we don't have existing south and east. Thank you.
Right.
We do have pictures. Not great. So I I looked at this through Google Street View, but Lucy also went and took some pictures. I'm gonna just to get it going, I'm gonna share those pictures, which I have to move.
I'd like to point out that there's no date for the house on the application.
Is that right? I didn't look that carefully at the application. It's built after 1923, before 49.
Okay, well, it doesn't say that on there, right?
Yeah, it should. All right, so I'm going to switch sharing. Go to this picture. So you see that? Okay. So there's the front. The probably north. North and western. Is that it?
That's,
Did you take others, Lucy?
I got all sides of the house that I could
Okay.
from the street.
Here we go. And here's the south.
Yeah.
It looks like all the windows are 1/1s. I don't, I can't really tell. I mean, I guess we just don't know if these are original windows, what the date is on the window. I think we'll probably have to ask for a window survey. But what do you guys want to say anything about the addition, the windows, the porch? Somebody go ahead. Go ahead. Liz.
I'll start.
Oh, okay, go ahead, Brooke.
In general, I think I'm okay with the addition. I think that if the windows are 1/1, they should stay 1/1 because that is what the building is. I don't think that a baluster railing on the front of this building is appropriate. I think that we could have any number of railings that don't have a vertical balustrade that would be appropriate as a bungalow. Of course, I like the shingled railing. I think that's been with that house for a long, long time. I think, most of the other stuff, it doesn't really jump out at me. Maybe that west elevation stair is could be hidden a little bit more.
I'm going to go to, right. I'm going to go to the, I'll go to the drawing.
And I suppose an argument could be made for breaking the eaves, but that may not apply to a building like this, which is a pretty simple mass.
Yeah.
4 square mass. So, no, I generally think this is appropriate. And, other than the front railing and the window situation, I have no other concerns.
Okay, thanks, Brooke. Anybody else? Lucy?
I think a window survey should be done. I like the porch the way it is now. I don't like the shutters. I have this thing about shutters that aren't wide enough to cover the windows. And I don't like black sashes on this style house.
Are you saying, Lucy, that you don't want to see shutters, period, or just want to have them corrected to the proper size?
Well, they should, if they're going to propose shutters, they should be the proper size.
And the mullions is a problem with shutters to begin with.
That's right. So I would leave the shutters off.
Unless
Yeah.
they're folding shutters.
Bifolding shutters?
Sure.
Have you ever seen those?
Nope.
Not sure we want to invent something new here. Yeah, I generally like shutters, and I think they would probably look good on this house, except for the mullions. And sometimes shutters were ornamental. So
perhaps if there's photos of some other bungalows with ornamental shutters, that would
Yeah.
help make the case.
Yep.
Because I kind of do like the look of it, but
Yeah.
Well, she has the shutters down as being gray. So you would have gray trim, white trim, gray shutters, and black sashes.
Yeah.
I just think that this house is not formal enough for black sashes, and it's sort of, I know it's on Pleasant Street, but I think it's
I think this would be
kind of
good. I think Essex green would look nice on this one.
yeah. In fact, I was trying to figure out if I remembered a green roof on it, but it does not have a green roof. I think it actually has a new roof on it.
Yeah. Angus, thoughts?
I agree with what's been said. I think an addition with a hip roof is appropriate. I would try to integrate the stair down in the back better. Somehow that's more internal. I agree about keeping the shingling of the porch. Definitely the window survey. And yeah, if they want a really dark color, the dark green would definitely be more appropriate than black.
Brooke brought up keeping the 1/1 windows. How do the rest of you feel about the change in the style from 6/1 to 1? You know what I mean?
It's not unusual for a bungalow.
I don't mind the change in style. I wish we knew whether those were originally 1/1s. That would say something.
I think some of that comes out in the wash with the window survey. Are they original?
Yeah,
And historic photos of it. There's got to be some.
yeah. I tried looking on the NHA's website over the weekend. Has anybody been there very recently?
No,
Yes.
I couldn't get it to search for anything. I don't know if that's something they changed. It looks like a new web page, but
Nikki, I can send you the link if you want. But I've been looking while you're talking. I can't find any pictures of. I would just went and looked through all the Pleasant Street pictures, and I'm looking through Candle House now, not seeing anything for that house.
okay. Thanks, Mary. Good to know. Won't waste my time there. All right, so I think we have enough information on this one. We're going to look for more historic information about the windows to make a real clear statement on that.
Mickey,
Yep.
I'm sorry I'm late.
Oh, hi, Tori. Did you hear our conversation? You hear us now? We've lost.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
I'm sorry I'm late.
Did you hear us our discussion earlier?
I didn't. I just got connected right now.
Okay, well, I'll just recap it quickly. We would like to see a window survey for all of the windows in the house before just replacing windows. We always want to see what the original ones look like to see,
Okay.
first of all, how old are they and were they actually original to the building? And
Okay.
that might help inform whether or not it's appropriate to change from 1/1s to 6/1s. I think the addition generally looks fine. No one really is in favor of changing the front railing to from shingles to balusters. That
Okay.
probably should stay the same. And that rear stairway on the west elevation feels like it's hanging out there. Try to get that a little bit more hidden or integrated into the the whole design. It's kind of sticking out on the end to try to get it less obtrusive on the outside.
Okay.
I think everything else. Oh, and the shutters was sort of a question mark. Normally we want the shutters to be sized so that they'll cover the window. Some of these look too narrow or just not inappropriate in their size.
Yeah.
They also aren't generally acceptable on mullioned windows, windows that are ganged together because they can't close and they don't work. They don't do their job. If it was brought up that maybe these might be okay in this style of home to have decorative shutters. But
Okay.
if we're gonna approve that, we'd like to see other examples on the island of windows, shutters on a house of this period that might have had shutters that are decorative rather than functional.
Okay.
So that would be good to bring in for the next meeting.
Okay.
So other than that, I think that's all we had to say.
Oh,
Okay.
Mickey, I have one other comment. What does
Sure.
everybody think on the south elevation, basement level? They've changed from 3 windows to 5.
Oh.
I think that's a little bit too much for a basement.
Okay, I'm trying to find the photograph. Yeah, there's 3 windows. They look wider and shorter. And they're just spaced out pretty evenly along that foundation wall. It does seem a little busy down there. I think I might agree with you on that, Lucy.
Yeah,
Anybody
I
else?
kind of do too. And they're very
agree.
visible.
Yeah, okay.
Really too much fenestration on the south side for that
Yeah.
style house.
Yep, I agree. Too many basement windows. Okay,
Okay, very good. Thank you, guys.
all right. Thanks, Tori. Moving on to 26 Easton. And Matt is not here.
26 Easy Street.
Easy Street, thank you. Need to pay attention.
Is this the old Killen property? Killen Real
No.
Estate or?
No,
This is the one down by,
across from the new park.
there's,
Oh, okay. Yep, I know where I am. Sorry.
Yeah.
Quick question.
okay,
It looks
yeah.
like we have revision clouds, but this building itself looks very different from what is there. So, oh,
So it's a whole new building,
okay.
brand new.
Oh, I see. Previously submitted. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, how many months have we been looking at different versions of the same thing, 3 stories?
Yes.
It's been, it seems like more than a year, but that could just be me.
3 years. 3.
3 years? That's-
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if you look at the comments, he was asked to take the pergola off before because it made the building seem too high. So he took it off and then he adds the roof walk. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of like,
I'm gonna make I wish Matt were here, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I mean, I'm gonna read some of the comments from the HTC's review of this the last time. I mean, I'm not gonna bother reading our HSAB comments because I'm about to reiterate them again. But in terms of the HTC board members, Diane Coombs says she agrees with HSAB, has repeatedly said that the 5 dormers are too many, makes it too top heavy. West elevation 4 gang windows should be reduced in number. If the height can come down more, that would be good. The cupola should be eliminated and possibly replaced with a chimney to break the roof line. This is too big and too heavy. Agrees the deck over the street is inappropriate. Oliver says she agrees with HSAB completely. We've been consistent about no balcony. Process is slow. Zoom slows it down. The cupola and deck have been a no-go from the beginning. Thornwell agrees with HSAB and what's been said. Poll, the smaller gable dormers with small windows on one side and the 2 gable dormers on the other side make the building look larger. It should be 3 larger dormers with larger windows to change the perception of size. The board has not said no to a third floor program. It's the level of maximizing that program that has been a concern. So I think the HTC has been very clear about several things that keep coming back time after time, which is, in my opinion, wasting everybody's time. We've looked at the same things. We're going to have the same comments as we did the last time. It's annoying. So I'm going to read my comments, and because it's what we've said in the past, and you guys can definitely add on to them. I hope you will. The HTC has repeatedly asked the applicant to lower the building and eliminate the balcony. It is still too tall. The roof pitch should lower to 8 and 12. The first floor ceiling height of 9 feet should be reduced. The gable dormers are too big and essentially create a 3rd floor wall. They should be much narrower with single windows. The roof walk is too wide and should be reduced to 7 feet, if not eliminated entirely. The second floor balconies on the front of any building downtown are inappropriate. This balcony should be removed. The 2 sets of triple doors leading to nowhere, which is on the screen now, have no historical precedent and should be changed to double hung windows. The 3rd floor mold window in the gable end is inappropriate and should be single. The applicant is still asking for too much program in this location. Trying to maintain this much floor area on the 3rd floor shouldn't be driving the design. A reduction in 3rd floor space will help steer this design closer to the proper height and scale for the neighborhood. This is a classic example of the applicant repeatedly asking for the same thing each time without making the changes that the HTC has requested, in the hopes that eventually the HTC will approve something. It's wasting everyone's time. HSAB would like to see further revisions. So I don't have to say that last paragraph, but I mean it.
We're all feeling it. I agree with your comments.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the same thing we said the last week, the last review. It hasn't changed. The only thing that's really changed is went from cupola to roof walk, and he made these dormers instead of 5 of them, he made them 3, but it's just as much wall space. So that was no improvement. Anybody want to add something to that?
well, can we, I don't know if we're allowed to do this, but can we say that until adequate changes, can that, let me start over. Can the staff reject any further reviews of this until adequate changes have been made?
You know, I thought about actually writing that in. I don't know if the staff is going to be able to do that. I mean, we would all like that to happen, but
It's just not legal.
yeah, I think they kind of probably have to accept an application revision.
I have an idea.
Go ahead.
And it means a little extra work for Matt. But I think that the Oak Street elevations, like showing the commercial buildings to the left would be helpful. And then the structures to the right, you know, even just like a massing study. I think that would help. You know, it would either help him or help us one way or the other. But as it stands alone, it does seem extremely tall for the space.
Well, it is. It's going to stand up well above
Yeah.
everything else. This is
Yeah.
33 feet 8 inches.
And
You
this
know,
is not the only project that he's tried doing this downtown too.
Well,
Well,
let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Okay,
I'm
covered
just
buildings-
trying to come up with a way that would help us have maybe gain a little more perspective. You know, certainly having Robert Young's building next door, and then also the buildings where Joe Paul's practices.
Yeah.
That would just be helpful.
Yeah, I'll throw that in there. But it's it won't hurt. I mean, it might hurt him but it might be helpful for us to see that.
Yeah, I mean, a massing study is not that difficult to contrive, I don't think.
Well, how accurate are we going to get? I mean, he has drawings for number 28, but
Okay.
12, that's
Well,
just
12, you know,
yes.
I think, you know, you just measure the gable peak and, you know, and eave height, and you can just do some pretty simple length, width, height,
Mhm,
just so there is a sense of relative scale. You know, we
mhm.
know how big the dreamland is.
Yeah.
And even still, that might be helpful just to see how big the dreamland is. That might help him.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's my suggestion.
All right, I'll add that to the end. Any other thoughts on this one?
Well, I think that until there's an appropriate response to the comments of the advisory board and the HDC, that it should just be passed for, you know, revisions, because there aren't obvious revisions happening.
Diane Coombs, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What is the HDC's tolerance on applications like this that keep coming back without significant changes? How is that going?
Well, you know, we've got 2 Stone Alley, which has been back for what, 6 years.
Yes.
We have 23 or 25 Broad Street, which has been back now it's been back at least 6 or 7 times. It doesn't change.
Yep.
We have to deal with them. And you have to have guts to say, no, we're not going to review this again if it doesn't come back with some changes. And sometimes those guts aren't there particularly.
Right.
But-
I hear. Yep.
deal with it. This has been in back and forth when it first came in, shocking. I think it's 3 years that we've done it, and it hasn't changed, as you mentioned, from one additive thing to the next one. It's exactly the same thing. And when he was working on it, we went through it when it was lower and then worked more with Robert Young's building. And now it's this elephant that's sitting there, and we can't seem to get him to knock it down.
Well, I hope you'll be consistent and continue to ask him to do that. You can't force him to, but I hope he doesn't succeed in wearing down the HDC. This is too important.
Well, I for one will retain my opinion.
Good. We appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, any other comments on this? Do you want to move on?
Nothing further.
This is 37 Fair. It's another map. All right, so here's the floor plan showing, which, I think, at least I feel is still an issue, this down basement access areaway, which is, I know they're going to try to plant it out from the street, but I don't think we should be relying on privet edge to hide everything. And it's right on the front of the building. It's an inappropriate place, in my opinion. Anybody want to comment on this one? Lucy?
Yeah, first of all, concerning that, the access to the basement, they have an access to the basement on the other side of the building. I can't see why that the architectural design can't be changed so that there is only one access and it's on the back side of the building. Doing this on the front, close to the street,
Yeah,
is not a good idea. And the existing vegetated screening is, it really is. I mean, I just was up there and it's not good. And let's see, the front stoop was supposed to be rebuilt. I have concerns about that. This is one of the front stoops with the lower railing. If it's rebuilt, are they going to be going up to code and we'll lose the charm of the lower railing? I forget what the date of this house is. And then I'd like to point out that once again, a chimney is gone.
oh, well, there's a chimney there.
It's a fake.
Oh, yeah. Is that a new roof walk? It is, isn't it? I guess we went through that before. That's probably been approved.
Yeah, we said it was too wide
Yeah.
for.
I think your point about the railing is a good one. It is going to go up to, oh, you have pictures of this one too. Railing is going to go up higher. Let me pull up those other pictures.
And the stoop does need some repair, but to totally replace it, I think is unwarranted.
Yeah, it doesn't look that bad.
No.
That's all right. There we go. Yeah. Can you guys see that? It's definitely lower. I'm sure that's lower than 3 feet. And so it'll go up. And I'm sure the details will change.
Well, you can compare it to the fencing on the side.
Yeah. Yeah. Get more pictures. This is the side looking down toward that new areaway, I believe.
Yeah, that's taken right out standing on the sidewalk.
Yeah. More in the front. That's it. Side. All right. Back to. Okay, so they're asking, they're also asking for this revision there, this side stoop to kind of stick out to the side. What else? This, they had previously requested this to change to a mullion. They got rid of that mullion. I think these are new, but I don't think there was much opposition to that triple, unless I'm mistaken. And there were okay. I guess the very back was up here. Yeah, this is the back. Not much. Oh, we changed the skirt from painted white to natural. I think we requested that. All right, Brooke or Angus?
Yeah, I don't really have anything further to add. I mean, if they want to get underneath the porch, they can certainly put the access on the other side of the porch, so it's not on Fair Street side. And so I guess they got the skirt approved, right?
I guess so. I can't remember if that was part of this application or just.
Because there's no application on this file to check.
Can I say something about the skirt? If you look at the north elevation, the proposed, the skirt seems to be only on the back side of the house, not on the front.
It's correct.
Right.
Yep. Which is a little odd if you ask me.
And that house is on a corner.
Yeah. So he's not actually asking for a new skirt. That must have been approved before.
All right, sorry, I didn't see that. So
on the
replace
north.
front steps, stoop, add storage access, simplified roof.
Yeah, the link I got didn't have an application at the top of it. It just starts with the first page.
Well, this is in the middle of the whole list of drawings. It's
Oh, okay.
number page 13.
Well, as far as basement accesses, I mean, that really should be at the back of the house. And when you have a corner house, that's just part of the design challenge. But I think that it's too modern and too visible.
Well, plus the fact that they have a basement access already designed. Another one.
It's a second access. I mean, here's
Yeah,
here's an access in the back.
All right, we're good.
Okay.
Are we done, Brooke?
I am.
Well, we know that.
All right. Well, I agree. I think we can move on. I think we've already said a couple times what we need to say. So let's, anything else? Guess not. Next.
Well, I will say that for something like those steps, saying that they're going to be hidden by planting is, I don't know, in the historic district, I don't think that cuts it.
No, I'll tell you actually what I was going to say is, I mean, it's basically, first of all, the areaway on the north will be very visible from Fair Street and should be moved or eliminated. This was previously requested by the HTC, yet it's still proposed. Yeah, I think even the HTC members were saying to get rid of the stair. The exterior stair on the south should be, that's the stoop stair. On the south should be more integrated along the side of the building rather than projecting outward. This was also requested by the HTC previously. And privet hedges should not be counted on to hide inappropriate architectural features on the front of buildings. They lose their leaves in the winter and may be removed in the future. If something is inappropriate, it should not be allowed. So those are my comments. So let's move on to Ben, hey, Ben.
Buddy?
All right. Ash Street.
Yeah, so this is old business. So yeah, it's actually that elevation right there. We're proposing to on the first floor relocate that existing window further to the left and then add a person door. And aside from a couple other things on the project, but this was kind of the sticking point for our past go. The first proposal that you guys didn't like was a door with a transom above it, and the idea was to get the head casing to align on the windows and doors because those windows are very tall. That was a non-starter. At the HDC meeting, Ray also asked that we try to get a window pattern or a window proportion, glass proportion that better matched the windows in the door. So that has led us to our current proposal, which is a little Dutch door with a 4-light top portion and then 2 panels on the lower. The head casings just don't match, and that kind of gets the glass proportion a little closer to those windows.
Hey, Ben, I know I suggested this and I don't know what anybody else thinks of it, but did you consider putting a little shed roof over this stoop and that would kind of fill this space?
Yep, yeah, I drew that and actually proposed it to my client. She was hesitant. She worried about shade and just trying to get as much light in there as she could, and it didn't really stick with the client. But I did draft it, but it didn't.
I
stick.
think that would be a great addition anyway.
Most people would like to have a covered walkway, entry into their house.
I agreed. I did propose it. I did try to push for it, but of course, if that's what will get us over this permitting hump, then I'm sure she has to figure out what she's willing to do. So yeah.
Well, I may throw it in there again. I think it would really fill the space nicely.
Yep.
And be functional at the same time.
Yeah, take away the whole transom and
Yeah.
issue.
Right.
I think we said that last time. I'm just gonna put it back on there and see what the HTC says about it.
Okay. Now, what's your opinion of that door style?
I kind of like it. It's something that might have been added in like the 20s or 30s or whatever. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I think a narrative can be contrived that would rationalize that door.
For me, the 4-light feels like a different period than the rest of the structure. I'd rather see something that more mimics the 6/6s. So a 6-light or a 12-light that maybe at least gets that same window size proportion. But it feels like a different period to me. But the first thing that jumped out at me looking at the west elevation was thinking, some sort of hood or porch roof would really be beneficial there. Then I glance over at the front portico situation and wondering, you don't want to be getting that fancy with it, but something over the door, I think, sort of fills the void there.
Yeah, I had a simple shed roof, where you see the railings for that, the posts for that railing system, those were just 4x4s that went all the way up, and it was a simple shed roof that came off. It was very, very.
I think that's a great idea, especially with that rectangular proportion.
Yeah,
Right.
I think it's a good idea too. Just simple detailing.
Yep.
The door, I agree that the door does definitely feel like a different period, but it already does feel like an addition. So I'm not sure I mind the change in the style. What's the front door?
The front door, I would like to point out, is green now, and the application says changing it to white.
Oh, we're not changing the front door color. Just the new door would be white.
Oh, okay, all right. Good.
What's the deal with the chimney?
That chimney is actually was for a boiler or some mechanical piece in the basement, and it didn't have any fireboxes or anything through the structure, and it's not helping anybody, so we just kind of want it to go away.
Were either of the other two chimneys historically there? What was its heat source?
I think the one on the far left there, when you're looking at it, that was original, or somehow original. I don't know, but the one that we want removed is not original because it was specifically built for mechanical.
Where is that now, Ben? Is it kind of in?
You gotta look at the as-built. If you look at the as-built up in the corner there, it's on the
Oh,
same sheet.
Gotcha.
you're on.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you
yeah.
go.
Oh, closets and stuff.
Yeah, that's the second floor. On the first floor, it's kind of tucked into a. You have to go to the first floor drawing, but
This is first floor. Yeah.
oh, that is first floor. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, it's kind of tucked into that closet thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think what we're thinking is shed roof.
Yep.
Anybody want to make a definitive statement about this door?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, me too. I think it's totally appropriate.
Okay. I'm on the fence. I'm ambivalent about it. Angus, do you care?
I'd rather see the panes look more like the other panes. You
Which
know,
would probably be 12 light.
probably 12 light.
9
Uh,
light, a 9 light door, which seems an easy solution, maybe sort of an odd thing on this house.
I think it would look too cheap.
Yeah, me too.
That 12 light, those little panes are gonna be tiny. They're gonna be little chiclets.
They'll, relative to these windows, I think you're right.
Yeah.
They'll be kind of like the, well, they'll be just like these.
Even
Well, there it
worse.
is. That is a 12 light door.
That's 12 light, yeah.
Well, no, not like a French door with a panel. Making use of, if you were going to do a Dutch door, like a 12 light or a 20 light, or something with little panes might look
Oh.
really great there.
Right, like really small panes. Yeah.
How do you want to describe that? Angus?
Just smaller panes in the upper Dutch door.
Smaller, okay. Got it. Okay,
I'd also like to add, it would be nice if there was some screening around that AC unit in the front or on the street
Is that a-
side.
The
where's that?
existing AC units.
Yeah,
Where
Yeah,
are they?
yeah, they're on North Water Street. They're like,
Ooh,
Ooh, it's
North
right,
Water?
yeah, you can look at the pictures. Yeah, they're existing.
they're right
they-
there.
They existed before the people bought the place.
Picture. They're in here somewhere.
Yeah, behind
Picture
that.
number
Jeep. I mean,
6,
not
I
on the
think.
front of the building. It's on the side. But
Oh, on the side, got it, yep.
yeah, go to the next picture. You'll probably see them in there somewhere.
They're right here.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah,
Oh, they're beautiful.
Yeah,
yeah. They're probably 20 years old. They've been there for quite a while.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna ask to screen the AC unit.
Sure.
Okay, any electric meters you want to get rid of, Lucy? Here's one.
always. Now, I'd like to see people get a nice, good-looking job when they're done.
Yeah, okay, we'll say maybe the electric meter too. All
Right,
right.
Ben?
I can't agree more.
All right, I'm good with this one? Think so. All right. Thanks,
All right,
Ben.
guys. Well, thank you.
All right.
Before you go, can I just mention two things which I'd like you to know about?
Yes, definitely.
One is the unavailability of cedar shingles.
Yeah,
We are looking, people are bringing these bleached shingles, which turn white. And another one that is dyed or painted that is a gray. I believe that they are white pine shingles. The ability to get cedar shingles for any length of time is up in the air. I looked at these other shingles and everything else, and my question, and I think a few other questions were, if they can get the painted ones, the pine shingles, and paint them, why can't we get pine shingles that are plain white or plain and will darken as pine shingles do? Why are we proposed? There are three major companies on the island, as you know, Island, Marine, and whatever they
Shepley.
are.
Shepley.
Right, Shepley. So we're going to review that in some way. If somebody hears some better news or some
Hey,
other,
Diane, I
Huh?
have heard that that shingles are becoming more available.
oh, good.
Yeah, that
Because
that supply is starting to finally catch up. So this problem may go away faster than.
Well, that would be marvelous, Ben. The other thing is, I see on your thing about the proposal of existing electric
Lighting.
landscaping.
Yeah.
I have been on the HDC for a fairly long time, and we used to do the landscaping, electric part of the landscaping all the time. A house out on North Street, we did that let it go along the pool, but didn't light the harbor, all sorts of stuff that we did. We did Cape Cod Bank, we did the Stop and Shop, we did the hospital, we did the school. These are all big ones that we did. Why we've seen to have lost the ability to do smaller ones, I don't know, particularly since we backed dark skies from the very beginning. So I trying to find out the history, but it's just a little hard with the guys in the office because they're out straight doing other stuff. But if anybody has any memories going back or houses that you remember doing, if you'd let me know so I could bring it up, because it's ridiculous we had that pool in Sconset on technically on Main Street, but it goes in behind. That they've got a pool and a spa and a whoozy wats's, and they have parties, and the whole thing, the facade is all lit up. So it's an important part of somebody's approval, and I can't see who else it would be except us, and I don't know why we ever lost it. So that's just a question in mind. You guys may remember having that come up before.
Well, we've often asked for outdoor lighting plans. And, every now and then, I think on the meeting house, the Roberts House, I think we looked at some lighting there. It's pretty rare that we actually, really review anything like that, even though we
Right.
request it quite often.
When I did my house on Liberty Street, the landscaping went in front of the HDC with the lighting. And I remember distinctly
With
that
lighting,
with lighting, I have
Yes.
3 little lights along the sidewalk. And I remember Dirk made me come back because he thought that they were too big and I couldn't find anything
Right.
small. But it's,
so that goes back to where Dirk was chairman then.
yeah,
I think it would
So
be
that's a good-
appropriate to have the lighting reviewed within the hardscaping, within the landscape plan. It just seems like a natural, that's when you do it, rather than. I think the HCC is trying to avoid looking at lighting fixtures that are attached to the house. I sort of understand
Well,
that.
we
even
should
though-
look at house.
Hmm?
We should look at lighting. It has to do with how it fits into the neighborhood and all the rest of it. I, for one, just something we should walk away from stuff because it takes time to do. But anyway,
I agree with you, Diane. I think it's a very important exterior element on a house, and I think it's logical that it would get approved, especially the big things on the front of the house or on the porches,
Right.
like on Main Street. So those are hideous. So I think it's appropriate, and we've talked about it. And maybe we should put it sort of back on our discussion list
Right, you might do that, and I'll see what I can find out and see how we could put it into the mission of the HDC without having to get involved with the town attorney.
Right.
Well, there are actually guidelines, and building with Nantucket in mind, about lighting, and we've actually talked about, I mean, it's been on our agenda for months, but to just like you check a box saying that you know the difference between a true divided light and a simulated divided light, is that you've reviewed and are following the guidelines for lighting. It is an issue and it does take time, but I mean, that's what our jobs are, advisory board and HTC. You know, the other day I
Yes.
was driving through town looking at the street lights as you know, a project that we're working on now. And what was glaring were, you know, the various shops and houses that have these glaring white lights that you know are too bright and they detract from the streetscape and all of that, let alone
So-
you know, actual style of fixture.
Right, well, that's why I'm upset. I don't know how we lost it. I don't think my board, unfortunately, I don't think can just walk away because it's a lot of work. If you can't serve, don't run is sort of a proposal I have. But I think we have to review it. Otherwise, we're going to lose dark skies and we're going to lose the peacefulness of this island when it's nighttime and the lights are all low. We had all these lights that we had that were only about 20 inches tall and all the lights went down. They gave you a footpath. I can remember doing this on several houses. They made a footpath, but they didn't glare up any higher than the pole. So anyway, what you can work on to suggest, or I would appreciate. Thank you.
Well, we'll certainly back you if it comes up for discussion
yeah.
at the HGC also.
And it might be a good topic of conversation for the certified local government meeting,
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah,
because it's a concern of the, you know, the streetscape and the general preservation of the environment, not just each structure.
yeah.
Right. Well, that's what, and we're one of the few places have a dark sky thing that you can see with an observatory. Why blast an observatory that's historic? So you can light out your pool. That's,
Mhm.
and the pools are, the island's going to sink very soon or become a pool itself if we don't regulate them in some way and
Yeah.
keeping them away from the historic buildings. So anyway, that's my bits of the day, and thank you very much for your help.
Yeah.
Diane.
Thank you. I think in regards to the shingles, hopefully Ben's right and the supply will fill in. I'd be very hesitant to allow any stained or painted shingles as a replacement in the meantime.
Well, I think we've got to keep our eye out and ask on applications.
Well, they've come up on 2 applications recently, and we were told it would be years before the Cedar shakes came back. And I looked into the ones they're proposing, and they're terrible. I just didn't know whether you guys, being more connected to the building part of it, might have more information, and Ben's information is heartening because the others end would be to clabbered, but clabbered destroys the simplicity of the house. So we're in a bind, you know, in a quandary.
Mhm. Well, you know, on my project, Lindsay Knapp is my builder, and he looked, you know, about a month ago all over New England, literally, and he almost got a truckload shipped up from the Carolinas, but that fell through. But I'll ask him again what he's planning to do in my house, and you know, maybe
Right, and
who knows?
some
Well,
of
it
them
could be-
come from Canada.
They
Right.
all mostly come from Canada. Yeah, that's the problem.
Right, and it's something about whether we're letting Canadians in or not. and the truck drivers are striking, so I did trace that down.
Hmm.
So we'll just have to see what happens, but if we've got some in this country that are good, then maybe they'll step up
Yeah,
to the,
I wouldn't approve anything else and let them just have tar paper on the sidewalls or Tyvek, whatever in the meantime.
yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Diane. All right,
All righty.
any other business for us? I think we're good. Take a motion for adjournment.
Yes,
Lucy's
motion.
motioning. Brooke is seconding,
Second,
and all those in favor, aye.
I,
aye.
All right. I'll stop sharing. All right. Thanks, guys.
all right, thanks,
Thank you,
Mickey.
Mickey.
Thanks for joining, Diane.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you,
Yes.
my pleasure.
Yep. See ya.
Thanks, Mickey.
Yep. Bye.